UrbanaBroadcastMedia.com Chicago.
And around the world where your voice is heard. This is UBM Talk.
My name is Coach Thomas. I am a fitness, health, and nutrition coach and member of the Illinois Governor's Council on Health and Physical Fitness. Make sure you check out Change for the Better with Coach Thomas Sunday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. We will discuss topics and feature guests that will give you helpful tips and advice on how to create healthier habits that will lead to a healthier lifestyle. Make sure you check out Change for the Better with Coach Thomas, where we focus on healthy kids and healthy communities.
Tune in to Change for the Better with Coach Thomas Sundays 7 to 8 p.m. only on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com.
The 85th Annual Bud Billiken Day Parade and Picnic happens this Saturday, August 9th on King Drive in Chicago. Urban Broadcast Media will simulcast the parade with a live radio and web presentation at UrbanBroadcastMedia.com. Check out the live simulcast starting at 10 a.m. Central. See and hear from the nation's biggest celebrities and politicians as hosted by UBM Radio's own personalities. Watch The Damon Williams Show, Chris Bates, Trey the Chocolate Job, Three's Company Radio, Two Different Views, Rated Life, Turn Up Radio, Diva MD, City Life, The D. Curtis Randall Show, Reverend Dr. Leon Finney, and Darian King from Robbins Insurance. This is brought to you by Robbins Insurance Agency since 1947, providing insurance for churches, businesses, and families. Comprehensive insurance packages designed for faith communities across the country. Dial 773-783-6060 or visit their site at robbins-insurance.com. This Saturday, listen to UBM Talk, UBM Jams, and UBM Praise for a live broadcast of the 85th Annual Bud Billiken Day Parade.
Tune in to City Life on UBM Talk, representing urban life, our city, our people, one love, with commentary by Nina D and CJ. Your pathway to insight, awareness, and unity. The heart of city life. Tune in Thursdays 8 to 9 on UBM Talk. That's City Life, Thursdays 8 to 9 on UBM Talk. Let's get it.
The Damon Williams Show.
We went to the set of Arsenio. We were in the audience. And anytime you see a white woman with a clipboard, chances are that person's going to be on TV. They're going to put a little dab of whipped cream here and here and here. That heifer squeezed that whole damn can of whipped cream all over my face. And then after she licked it off, my little dirty old man neighbor, who never has two words to say, I look out, he's standing at his Sunday best. So you like whipped cream, huh?
The Damon Williams Show, Wednesdays 2 to 4 p.m. on UBM Talk.
The following show is paid programming and does not necessarily express the views and opinions of Urban Broadcast Media and its subsidiaries.
Thank you for listening to UBM Talk.
Hey guys, it is Dr. Shanicka Williams here, and it is the Diva MD Show. Welcome, 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 welcome. I am so glad you guys decided to join with me tonight. It is the Diva MD Show and the Divas Med Lounge, and the Divas Lounge is going to be off the hook today. We got some very interesting topics, but before I even get into that, guys, I'm just gonna keep it real with you all. I had such an awesome time yesterday. I played hooky and I was like a big kid again. I went to Great America with the Booski, and I promise you, every ride I was nervous, I was shaking, I was shivering in my boots, but it didn't even matter. I put on my big girl pants, pulled them up, and I got on pretty much all the rides, and I'm very proud of myself. I can give myself a hand clap for that. So sometimes you just gotta kick back, relax, and just, take some time to yourself. And I definitely needed that to, kind of relieve some stress in my life. Who has stress in their life? I know somebody got some stress. But I had a wonderful time, and it's revving me up for tomorrow. I'm very excited about tomorrow because we will be hosting live. UBM will be hosting live from the Bud Billiken Parade tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. So make sure you guys tune in. I love the parade. It's always so much full of energy, and I used to, way back in the day, I don't know if any of my Abbott Park cheerleaders are on the line listening. But I used to cheer back in the day with Abbott Park, and we used to tumble and flip and cheer through the crowd, and it was just such an amazing moment. So I know there are some kids that, you know, it's all about back to school and, you know, positive vibes and, you know, just great things happening. So, you know, we're going to have a great time tomorrow. So I hope you guys are out with us, hanging out with us. Starting at 10 a.m. We're hosting live, and I believe I'm on at 10:30. So keep that peeled. So today in Diva's Med Corner, I really wanted to talk to you guys about a particular disease that you wouldn't necessarily think that you would see it in the African American community. There's a myth that multiple sclerosis does not affect African Americans, but it's actually it's prevalent in our communities. And I'm sure when I was telling people about this topic, they're like, oh yeah, I know 1 or 2 people or 3 or 4 people that have multiple sclerosis. So it's not something that we really talk about. So I wanted to give you guys a chance to educate you on multiple sclerosis. And I have in the studio and on the phone, I will have in the studio soon, Miss Brandy Williams, who's going to join us. She's going to tell us a little bit about what it's like to live with this sometimes debilitating disease. And then I also have on the phone line Dr. Okenya Marquise, who's on the phone line. Are you there?
Hi, how are you? Good evening.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
This is actually our first time meeting, so I'm very excited to have you on the phone.
Yes, it's finally great to talk to you.
So we are Facebook friends, and we're also a part of Artemis Medical Society, which is a society for minority women physicians. And literally, guys, I went on the website and said, who on this page is a neurologist? And Dr. Marquise spoke up, and I'm like, yes! I love my sisters who doing big things. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. Tell us about what you do.
Well, I'm actually a neurologist who specializes in pediatric neurology, epilepsy, as well as neuroimaging. So I read studies, MRIs on the brain and spinal cord. And my particular interests are epilepsy and neuroimaging.
Very nice. And then you've also just did a fellowship, correct?
Correct. Yes, I just completed my fellowship in neuroimaging.
Okay. And that also focuses on adults as well, correct?
Correct.
So you did pediatric and adult. So, guys, she's definitely able to talk to us today about our particular topic of multiple sclerosis. Can you just start off by telling us, you know, what exactly is multiple sclerosis?
So multiple sclerosis is a disorder where the immune system functions abnormally. Typically, our immune system is meant to fight off and ward off foreign bodies like viruses and bacteria. But in the case of multiple sclerosis, it actually starts to see our own body, ourself, different nerves in the brain and spinal cord as abnormal. So it starts to attack it and create an inflammatory response, and thereby damaging the white matter. And we can actually see that on MRI as the plaques or areas of demyelination is what we call it.
Sure. And that's pretty much how you diagnose it, right? Is that by imaging?
Correct, by imaging and also by evaluating the patient themselves, you know, with the symptoms that they come in.
And what types of signs and symptoms would they have?
Well, it can vary in each patient, but there are certain common symptoms and signs. And I'll give you an example of a few of them. A lot of patients can have sensory changes, meaning that they can feel numbness, tingling in different parts of their body, which is often an early complaint. They can have profound fatigue, which is severely out of proportion for their normal activity.
So not just the regular fatigue. I'm tired. It has to be out of proportion.
This is usually way out of proportion to the amount of activity that they've done. And oftentimes they can have eye symptoms with blurring of the vision, double vision. And another common but also unusual symptom is that they can't tolerate heat. For example, you might hear a patient say that, okay, I've gotten into a hot shower, and as soon as I come out, I am so tired, I can't even function, I'm wiped out. And that's actually a common symptom of MS.
Interesting. And what's so interesting about these signs and symptoms is that, you know, each one of them individually can represent, you know, any number of disease, right? Correct.
You know, this is like one of the great mimickers. Correct. Yeah, that's what we usually call multiple sclerosis, because there are other disorders that can also have similar symptoms. But once a patient starts having these constellation of symptoms, you have to put it on your list to investigate and see if this is one of the possible causes.
Sure, sure. Now, would they have multiple of these symptoms, or would they, just come in with one or two symptoms? I mean, like, what would really make you trigger to, move towards imaging?
Usually patients actually have multiple of these symptoms, and usually it's over a period of time. And the fact that they have it over a period of time kind of helps you distinguish that this is more likely multiple sclerosis. Because with multiple sclerosis, you tend to have what we call relapse. You either have new symptoms or repeated symptoms. So usually when a patient comes in with one or two symptoms, many neurologists will go ahead and do an MRI of the brain and do other studies looking for the possible mimickers of multiple sclerosis.
Sure, sure. And what are some of the mimickers?
There's a disorder called neuromyelitis optica, which affects the optic nerves. There's demyelination there, causing also blurring of the vision. And it can also affect the spinal cord, causing difficulty with walking, also sensory symptoms. Also, other autoimmune disorders like lupus and sarcoidosis can affect the spinal cord, can affect the optic nerve, and affect the brain in a similar way that multiple sclerosis can. The advantage of doing an MRI is a lot of times MRI can help you distinguish, because MS will look different than sarcoidosis that affects the brain or lupus that affects the brain.
Sure, sure. And what are some of the complications of multiple sclerosis?
Multiple sclerosis is a disorder that eventually progresses to disability. And by that I mean the spinal cord can be affected by multiple relapses. So people can have difficulty with walking, some increased spasticity, meaning muscle tightness, and it does eventually affect the patient's cognition. Some patients may notice they have difficulty with attention, their short-term memory, their mood. Some people develop a depressed mood with multiple sclerosis. And sometimes also the medications in of themselves can cause secondary effects that also have long-term effects that the patient needs to deal with.
And what are some of those medications? What is the treatment for multiple sclerosis, and is there a cure?
That's a great question. So I like to think of treatment for multiple sclerosis in kind of two categories. The first category, I think of what you want to do when there's a relapse or an acute flare-up that's happening. The first thing we want to do is quickly shut it down and get the immune system under control. And by doing that, we use a pulse of steroids or solumedrol. And this is done whenever there's a relapse to kind of get things under control. The second category is called immune modulators, or medications that are taken chronically to keep the immune system under control. And starting in the 1990s, they really started to come up with all these medications that were effective in controlling multiple sclerosis. And the first series of these medications were injectable medications, either into the muscle or underneath the skin. And people may have heard the different names, either betaserone, Avonex, Rebif, or Copaxone. And they all are quite effective. They have a 30% reduction in yearly relapses and 30% reduction in new lesions on the MRI or new plaques on the MRI. And those are the ways in which we measure how effective our treatment is for our patients. We look at how often are they having a relapse and how much of a change there is on their MRI. But in the past 10 to 5 years, there have been new oral medications coming into the market. And they've actually been very great for many patients. There's so many patients who do not want to give injectable medications, and they don't take their medication, so they don't really get the benefits of the medication to prevent their MS from flaring up. So there are new medications called Gilenya, Tecfidera, Aubagio, all of which have the same range of efficacy in reducing relapses and changing their MRI as the injectables. But the benefit is that people are more likely to take these because they no longer have to inject themselves, and they're more compliant with the medication.
So as far as compliance, if they're not compliant with their medication, is there a correlation between, the number of relapses, or is every person different? Because some people can definitely, go into remission and not have symptoms for years. So, as far as medication, is there some type of correlation between, whether they're treated, or even if they're treated at all? If you're diagnosed with MS, are you automatically put on medications if you're asymptomatic?
That's a good question. Actually, back earlier in the days when people were diagnosed with MS, sometimes they weren't actively symptomatic after they've gotten a pulse of steroids, and they're doing very well. So they might actually hold off on starting those immune-modulating medications. But over the years, they've seen the studies that if immunotherapy is started earlier, you actually delay the onset of disability and the progression to disability.
I see.
So now the move has been to start people on immune modulators earlier. But also you have to look at the patient as a whole, and each patient's going to be different in how they present. Someone comes in with more severe symptoms, and in an African-American community, oftentimes we present with more severe symptoms just by the nature of how MS affects us. We tend to start on modulating therapy within a year of diagnosis, so often much more quickly than our Caucasian counterparts. And there are people who have different rates of relapses, and it's going to be individual to each patient, and each patient's response to the medications is going to be unique. But the benefit that we have is that we have several different medications to try to figure out which is the best medication or best combination of medications for each patient.
Sure. And then I'm going to, if you guys don't know, this is the Diva MD Show. You are listening live. We are talking about multiple sclerosis. I have Dr. Okenya on the phone with Dr. Marquise on the phone, and she's a board-certified neurologist, and she's given us information on, the signs and symptoms, the diagnosis, the current treatments for multiple sclerosis. And Brandy Williams just walked into the studio. Hey, Brandy, how are you?
Hey.
Can you pull up to the mic?
I'm good.
Good,
How are you?
good. So, like I said, we're talking with Dr. Marquise, and she's given us a little bit of information, the medical background of everything. But, I really want to get to know, what it's like coming from a patient as well that's been diagnosed. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And Dr. Marquise, I'm going to keep you on the line, okay? We're going to ask you some more questions. Is that all right?
Sure, that's
okay.
Just fine.
Excellent. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, and, when did you get diagnosed, and, what's going on with your life right now?
Okay. I was officially diagnosed in January 2006.
How old are you, Brandy?
I am 36.
Okay. Young.
I was about 27, I believe. And I had like a preliminary diagnosis in like 2005. They did a spinal tap because I was having frequent headaches, and it just like went around. I had a neurologist. They saw the lesions on my brain years earlier from an MRI, but they said because of my age and everything else that don't worry about it. Yeah. So they were treating me for frequent migraines, but actually, I really did have multiple sclerosis.
Now, were those your only symptoms, the recurrent headaches?
The recurring headaches and fatigue. More and more with work, they kept saying anytime you do anything, then it's like you call in sick on Monday if you do anything over the weekend. And they were putting it on me like, I'm doing this on purpose.
Oh, wow.
Or I was getting sick a lot. And my doctor, I guess my primary care doctor, got to the point where she was like, what is it now?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she was like telling me that I was homesick and all this other stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Sure.
Yeah. And this really is something bothering me because
Right.
I think I had a lot of ear infections, a whole bunch of things that were just crazy.
Okay.
And I mean, I really needed something because my immune system would, like, if anybody at work, they come into work sick, And I would catch whatever it was. My immune system, instead of fighting whatever illnesses, that these people want to share, then it attacks something else.
Sure.
So, I pretty much had that, and I had to go around and find somebody that was willing to treat me because they didn't want to treat me. And so I had to go to the MS Center at the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia, because that's where I was living.
Okay.
And I went there, and the doctor was just like, well, we're going to try to do some more tests to rule everything out. And then, after the results came back, then she said, okay, I have good news. You don't have cancer. And I'm like, we weren't testing for cancer.
Right.
And then she said, but welcome to the club. You have MS, and I have MS too, so you're going to be okay. And I'm just like, all right. And she's like, yeah, because you've got it early, like so we can treat it and nip it in the bud. So the treatments were kind of aggressive a little bit at first, and more symptoms, I guess, were just coming out like, oh, you trying to stop me. So so anytime
what
it
were
was
your initial treatments?
Let's see, I had first, in order to get on it, it was beta-serin, and the doctor put me on I think it was Wellbutrin, because the main side effect of beta-serin is depression.
Gotcha.
So they wanted to get me on something and balanced on something before starting the medication. And I guess Wellbutrin was a little too strong for me. So my doctor was like, okay, you're like got a weakness for medication, almost like a 12-year-old or something. So it's okay. So she changed my medication. Everything was normal. But poor thing, my mom, she was flying back and forth to Atlanta. And as soon as she would fly back to Chicago, she'd have to turn around and come back here.
Speaking of which, how does your diagnosis affect, other family members? And are there other family members that have MS, or are you the only one?
I am the only one, at least for 1 or 2, 3 generations.
Okay.
I thought, most of us thought that my aunt on my father's side had it, but that was like long time ago, probably like over 30 years ago, that they said she had MS when she really didn't. So she was tested recently. She does not have MS.
Sure.
So I'm the only one in the family that has it. And it doesn't really, I don't think it really affects most, except for my parents. I think they had it the hardest.
Okay.
They wanted so much for me.
Sure.
And I was living a great life. And
do you feel like your life is limited now?
For a little while I did, but now I don't feel that way. I just see it as I just have to do things a little differently.
Sure.
I mean, I ended up getting married recently.
Congratulations. I saw the pics.
Yeah. And my husband has MS.
Okay.
So
now, did you all meet in a group, or is this just by chance, or how did that work?
We met on Facebook, actually. We have a mutual friend who also has MS. I posted a little video of what the Greater Illinois chapter of the MS Society did. They showed what Chicago did to support National MS Week. And so I posted the video. Our mutual friend, she shared it, and he commented. And he said, I live here, and I had no idea that Chicago even did all of that. And so I saw his picture, and I'm bold. I mean, as far as like with the whole like MS and everything, I just got bolder with the things that I do.
Sure.
So I was like, he's cute. And I looked at his profile, and because most guys, they don't have their stuff all super secure and everything, so I was just like, okay, well, he's obviously in the same MS groups, so he must have MS. And if anything, I can make a new friend in Chicago that has MS.
Sure.
So, you know, he accepted the friend request. Eventually, he sent me instant messages and stuff, and then communicated, and I believe he decided to give me a call because he had
Brandy pursuing.
Hey,
you gotta do what you gotta do,
gotta
right?
do it.
So, Dr. Marquise, let me ask you just a couple of quick questions. We said that Brandy was diagnosed at the age of 27. Is that fairly young, you know, for a diagnosis, or, you know, what's the age range for patients that, you know, are at risk for multiple sclerosis?
Well, MS is considered more of a disease of youth or young adults, actually. Diagnosis can start anywhere from the teens up until the early 40s. So 27, I think you said 2005 was when you were diagnosed. It's not uncommon.
Okay. And then as far as the race, you said that who do you see multiple sclerosis in mostly?
For a long time, it's always been considered a disorder that is more commonly seen in the Caucasian community. In fact, they are still 2 times more likely to have multiple sclerosis, but it's been a misconception that African Americans don't get multiple sclerosis, or it's exceedingly rare. I think the old studies that were published maybe some 15 years ago said that, but a more recent study published last year actually showed that African Americans in that particular group can have a 40% higher risk of multiple sclerosis. So we do have to take in consideration there's a genetic factor, there's an environmental factor, and there are other geographic factors that play a role in how prevalent multiple sclerosis is in the African American community.
Now, are there certain infections that have been linked to MS as well?
There's one hypothesis that exposure to the Epstein-Barr virus, which is a virus that also causes mononucleosis, can trigger the immune system in those who are susceptible to have that immune abnormality. That's really more of a hypothesis. They haven't quite definitively found a causative effect of that.
Okay. And Brandy, let me ask you, if you could, from the diagnosis to now, sum up some type of positive feeling that you have about your diagnosis, what would you say?
It definitely gives me perspective. And also, I believe I have more of a spiritual belief in going forward. If something bad is happening, then I know from experience that I can make it. Absolutely. I can keep going. So I stay as positive as possible. You know, yes, I'm in pain.
Sure.
Yes, you know, something might not be working properly or something. But then, like my doctor just told me, I believe last month, he was like, right now you're at the best possible outcome that we can expect. Because I'm currently on Tysabri. And they're like super concerned now because my husband and we there's this new test for JC virus. And so they're saying, you know, my husband tested positive, I tested negative.
Okay.
And so they're concerned. Basically, anybody, you could have JC virus. Yeah, so anybody could have this. And apparently that could run the risk of us getting PML, and which you could die from. So they are like very cautious and checking us closely. But yeah, so he's negative. He's not on that. He's on Tecfidera, which is a pill, and I'm jealous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So at this time, you guys, I want to thank you guys so much. Dr. Marquise, you were awesome. Thank you for giving us all the facts about multiple sclerosis. Brandy Williams, you were awesome as well. Congratulations on your wedding. You know, I wish you well with you and your husband. And thank you for sharing your story about multiple sclerosis. You're listening to the Diva MD Show right now. We're coming up to the 8:30 hour. And Diva's Lounge is coming up next, guys. You don't want to miss this. I'm a diva.
The 85th Annual Bud Billiken Day Parade and Picnic happens this Saturday, August 9th on King Drive in Chicago. Urban Broadcast Media will simulcast the parade with a live radio and web presentation at urbanbroadcastmedia.com. Check out the live simulcast starting at 10 a.m. Central. See and hear from the nation's biggest celebrities and politicians as hosted by UBM Radio's own personalities. Watch The Damon Williams Show, Chris Bates, Trey the Chocolate Jar, Three's Company Radio, Two Different Views, Rated Life, Turn Up Radio, Diva MD, City Life, The D. Curtis Randall Show, Reverend Dr. Leon Finney, and Darian King from Robbins Insurance. This is brought to you by Robbins Insurance Agency since 1947, providing insurance for churches, businesses, and families. Comprehensive insurance packages designed for faith communities across the country. Dial 773-783-6060 or visit their site at robbins-insurance.com. This Saturday, listen to UBM Talk, UBM Jams, and UBM Praise for a live broadcast of the 85th Annual Bud Billiken Day Parade.
All right, guys, so do you feel that black women have a chip on their shoulder? Who wants to tackle that?
I got a chip in my hand. I don't believe that black women have a chip on their shoulder. I think that it's a very vicious cycle that goes
Welcome.
around.
I am Sky Shy Travels, Janice Temple, your host for the Sky Shy Travel Guide, every Travel Tuesday at 1 p.m. on UBM Talk. I was also a flight attendant for 7 years at a regional carrier where I flew across the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas. We are going to talk about flight tales, flying insider secrets, and flying hot topics. Check me out every Tuesday at 1 p.m. on urbanbroadcastmedia.com.
Hello, this is Leon Finney, your host of Another Perspective on urbanbroadcastmedia.com. We are the voice of Black America. Join me and my guests every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. as we discuss the issues that impact Black America. Tune in to UBM Talk on urbanbroadcastmedia.com, the simulcast on our affiliate station WBON 1690 AM. That's Another Perspective every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. And you can run and tell that.
Urban Broadcast Media, proudly broadcasting from studios located in the Bronzeville community in the city of Chicago. Heard around the world at urbanbroadcastmedia.com. UBM Talk, servicing the community and beyond.
Hey guys, it's the Diva MD Show here with Dr. Shanicka Williams, and we are in the Divas Lounge, guys. You know, in the Divas Lounge, anything goes, and we talk about just about everything, right? We talk about love, money, relationships. Well, today we are definitely talking about some finances. We need to get our coins right, but don't get it twisted. I don't want anyone to think that you need to have a love of money, a love of wealth. No, you have to seek the kingdom of God first, and all things will come to you. But at the same time, I do need for us as minorities to get our coins right. Okay, sometimes we have some misconceptions about money, and we have Miss Alexandria Cummings with us, president of Mind Over Matter Financials. Please welcome her, guys.
Hello, 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 hello.
What's up? Oh, we got a live one in the studio, y'all. So, Miss Cummings, how are you, my dear?
I'm good. So, I want to apologize that my voice is scratchy, but we're going to make it do what it do.
Ain't nobody listening.
We're going to make it do what it do.
Quit playing. Your voice sounds great on the radio.
No, I usually sound much sexier than this.
No, I hear you in my headphones. I hear the sexiness.
Yeah, okay.
You're fine.
Okay. We're good then.
So, Alex, can I call you Alex?
You can call me Alex.
You know, we went to high school.
Go way back.
You know, way
we
back.
We look good.
Graduated in 97. Boom, Whitney Young. Look, hey, we look good for our age.
We do look good.
Okay?
We look good. We
look
real good.
We got it going on. Brandy, I didn't tell you guys before, Brandy, who was on the segment prior to us, is a Whitney Young Dolphin as well. So, hey, I got the Dolphins in the house with me today. So, Alex, can you tell us a little bit about your company and what you do and how you got started?
Yes, so I was a financial advisor full-time for about 8 years. I worked for a small African-American boutique firm, and I loved helping people with their money, but I found that people needed coaching, which is what technically I wasn't paid to do. I was a salesperson. And so A few years into the game, thank you, I decided to transition my practice to teaching financial literacy. And so the name of the business is Mind Over Matter Financial. And I named it that because I realized as I was working with people, I began to become a counselor. I was so young and I was counseling people about their money. Their behaviors and their habits all stem from somewhere. And so I got into this mindset work and I was like, Lord Jesus, what is going on? You're having me do this work. And so I decided that I was going to focus on teaching people how to manage their money, mind over matter, because you need to have a new mindset in order to become wealthy. Our old mindsets will not work.
Absolutely. And you know what? I say this all the time. You know, we take our finances and we learn from our parents. And sometimes our parents did not do the best thing for us and for them. And I tell this story all the time. You know, I watched my mom with the credit card. That was the magic card to me, you know, and I was like, all you got to do is swipe. That's it. And it is yours. But little did I know that there are repercussions to just swiping, right? You gotta pay for that eventually. And usually you pay more than what you spent for that shirt anyway, you know, than what you had intended to spend. Right. So tell us a little bit about what types of programs that you have within your organization.
So I do coaching. So in the fall, my coaching programs will be rolling out. So if you need some one-on-one assistance from me to really get your financial house in order, to figure out how to manage your budget, how to begin saving, even if you are stuck in the financial mud, there's still help for you. So I have 2 tracks from our program, Discover and Maximize. And so the Discover program is more of like counseling and coaching people that are new to money management. And the Maximize track is for people that have really done a good job at saving and have managed their credit, but they're looking to take it to the next level.
Got you. So there is hope.
There is hope. And you know, and
that's
I want to
important point.
And let me tell you, like, let me give you like the real deal about this business. So the reason I'm so awesome at what I do is because I made all the bad mistakes. So I made all the mistakes and had to clean up my own mess. I was living in secret. I was a financial advisor teaching people how to manage their money. And I wasn't able to manage my own money because I had to teach myself these things. So there is hope. You're never too young. You're never too old to get your finances in order.
All right. So let's get to the meat. We need the meat of
Are we going to talk about the B word?
What's the B word?
Budget.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just make sure we're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
She telling me what I'm supposed to say. No. Yes, Alex, can you please tell us how do we budget?
Well, you know, so my friends make fun of me because they know when they're around me, they'll be like, I was with a girlfriend and we were shopping. She's like, girl, it's in my budget. I'm like, yeah, you know, because budgeting is so important. And I think budgeting is, I know budgeting is the key for you to build your wealth. You have to learn how to manage the money you have now so that you can get the money that you want. And so you need to make budgeting your best friend. People feel like it's a B word, it's a dirty word, but it's not. People feel like budget is a barrier, but it's not. Your budget is a blessing. Once you are able to manage your money and live within your means, I mean, the financial road is just open for you. And so the way that I teach people how to budget is I have you sit down like you can do, and I'm going to talk about how you can use mint.com, which is a great website to track your spending. But I like the old fashioned way where you can sit down at your kitchen table, your coffee table, and get all your bills out and look at how much you owe people every month. That's rent, mortgage, gas, car note, bus fare, all those things. Sit down and figure out how much it really costs for you to run your household. And then once you do that, you can have a conversation about needs and wants, right? People forget about that.
The wants outweigh the needs.
The wants, yeah, and that's the problem. You don't need a new pair of shoes. You just need not to be barefoot. Okay?
There you go.
But I mean, but it's a real conversation. And you said earlier that people were not taught about money as a kid, and we're not. But that's no longer an excuse. There's so much information out here, and you got me, right?
Absolutely.
So you need to sit down and look at what your current expenses are. You also need to know how much your income is. If you were to ask someone how much money they bring in every month, you would people are just shocked. They really don't know. So you need to know what your income is and what your expenses are. And then once you do that, you can have a conversation with yourself.
Right.
You can say, self, if I know that I'm at Macy's and I'm at Nordstrom Rack, or I'm at PF Chang's, or if I'm at Ruth Chris, if you like steak like me, those are doing that on a regular basis is going to prevent you from meeting your goals.
Right.
That is a want and not a need.
I think you said the key point, doing it on a regular basis. So
Doing
I
it.
have patients that, always ask me, well, can I have a burger? Can I have some fried chicken? Absolutely you can. But you need to do it on, you know what I'm saying?
On a regular, yeah.
Not on a regular basis. You once a month, go have a burger. Once a month, go have some fried chicken. Same thing. Once a month, maybe you can put aside some money to go to Macy's.
And I budget for everything, but I do it in a way that allows me to feel like I'm not holding things back, or I'm not depriving myself.
Sure.
One thing that I do at home, well, I love to cook and I love to eat too. And once a month, my husband and I go out on a date. Like we go out and have dinner, but then sometimes we cook. We make lobster tails and shrimp and filet mignon, and we put the tablecloth on the table, and we have a bottle of wine, and we feel almost like we're at a fancy restaurant.
Sure. And how much did you save?
And how much? Don't even, so let me just give you one example. So let's say I love scallops, right? So if you're going to go to a restaurant and have scallops, you probably get about 3 scallops for $25.
Ridiculous.
I can't get full off of that, but you can go to Mariano's, Trader Joe's, Jewel, wherever, and you can have as many scallops as you want for that same price. So it's not about depriving yourself. It's about living within your means and really like being satisfied with where you are. If you can, and that's a mindset shift. A lot of us feel like I need to feel good to have a fancy dinner. That is not going to make you feel good. There's some hurt and some pain and some stuff there, and that dinner is not going to fix it.
Right.
It really goes back to your financial mindset, your attitudes about money. Were you taught about money as a kid? Are you shopping because you're sad, because you're lonely? What are free things that you could be? I mean, it's crazy. It's I have to, even as a financial advisor, as a financial coach, I have to say, Alex, get out of here. What are you doing in this store? And I turn around and I get out because that my mindset is different than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's deep. That's really deep because, I mean, same thing, you can definitely relate finances to health, and I can do this all day with you.
Oh, yeah.
But, for people who binge eat, or eat when they're lonely, or any of those, it's a mindset. You definitely have to step. And even if that is something you decide to do, okay, well, now choose a salad instead of the burger and fries. So what are alternatives for people with psychological mindsets like that? What are the alternatives to still feed into that but not feed into it?
Well, I think that the alternative is for you to get it together. Like you have to say stop. The alternative is you being racked with debt, you being homeless, you not being able to retire, you being the little old lady who's working at Walmart, or the little old man who's working there not because you want to get out the house but because you need the money. So the alternative is all kind of bad stuff, but the blessing of you managing your money is limitless. Right. It's limitless. So for anybody out there, if you feel like you are struggling, you feel like you never have enough money, the solution is already inside of you. You just need to shift your mindset. And I have a really good friend that always says that you are worthy of the best life has to offer. Absolutely. And that's not money. If you can start to believe things like that, you can shift your mindset immediately. And you have to have conversations with yourself. Why am I spending this way? Why am I in this department store? Why am I at this bar? Why am I at the restaurant? And if you can get to the heart of why you're behaving that way with your finances, you can turn it around in a second.
So after we turn it around, can we get to the I word? Do you know what the I word is?
And so let me say that I appreciate you saying that budgeting and money management and getting your everyday monthly finances comes before the I word, which is investing. Because the stock market is not like the magic beanstalk. It's not magic. You need to be in the game for a while before you can see results. So don't take your rent money and invest it in the stock market. Don't do that. so once you have your budget together, once you have emergency savings set aside in case the car breaks down, in case the roof blows off your house, you know, we're in the windy city, then from there you can begin to invest. And so
BSI. So budget, save, invest.
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
like that.
Before we
I'ma
even
steal
get
that.
you
I'ma
can
steal
have it.
that.
You can have it right here on the Diva MD Show.
I never matter. BSI. Budget, save, invest.
So before we get to the invest, let's start with the savings.
Yes. Yes.
So how do you save?
So how do you save? So let me tell you what saving is not. Because some people think they're saving when they're not. Saving is not, I'm gonna put $50 or $100 in my in my savings account every month, and I'm gonna take it out next month. That is not saving. That's not saving.
I think I'm guilty.
Okay, sorry. That is not saving.
She calling me out.
Saving is, and I'm calling everybody out. Okay? So saving is you having a predetermined amount of money that you're gonna put away at the same time all the time. And so when it comes to your paycheck, and let me just step back and say, you don't have to save a lot of money. I mean, you don't have to have a lot of money to save. It's really about establishing a habit of saving. I tell people, start with $25 and then put $25 in the next time and the next time and the next time. And then you look up, you will have money.
Right.
You just can't touch it.
Right.
So that's what saving is, putting money away. And you don't have to have a lot, just put a little in. And
what about a percentage?
You know, so there is conventional wisdom that gives you percentages, but I think that these days are not conventional days. I think those are things that scare people away. There are rules that say you tithe 10%, you save 10%, and you live off 80%. But if someone is stuck in the financial mud, that's so intimidating to them. So I say start with a small amount. I mean, of course, over time you want to increase it so that you can retire, but start with at least $25 or $50 a payday and make sure you put in your savings account, and you can just have it direct deposited. So it's just gone.
Sure.
It's
so
gone.
let me stop here just to interject, since we talked a little bit about tithing 10% to the church. I must say I started tithing maybe 3 years ago, and 3 years ago I probably was in the worst financial rut that I could ever be in. And once I started or made a conscious decision that no matter what my finances looked like, that I was going to give 10% to God, I tell you, no joke, so many financial doors open for me, so many financial blessings poured down on me. It was absolutely amazing.
Room enough to receive it,
man.
I mean, and I am a tither too, and I also have a financial role in my church, and so sometimes I do the financial pleas, and I told them that I am a reformed tither, and I've been tithing for a long time, but sometimes it was really, really hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not that I don't love the Lord, because I do, and I love my church. I have an awesome church, Greater Bethesda Missionary Baptist Church.
Shout out.
But I decided a long time ago that no matter what, that was going to be the first check. And by the way, it is gross. It's not net. So if your paycheck is $1,000 before the government gets it, then you need to pay God 10%. Don't give him 10% of what gets deposited in Chase.
Tell it.
Preach.
Tell
it's 10%
it.
from the top, because you
Yes.
don't want God to start shaving off the top of your blessings.
Exactly.
So you better give him his 10%.
Give him a 10. Give him a 10. All right. So now we're into the investment portion.
Yes,
and
we're
if you
in it.
don't know now, you're listening to the Diva MD Show. If you have questions for Alexandra, you can give us a call at 312-754-4333. Investing. Let's go.
Oh, and people are hitting me up. Oh, somebody said, you go, girl. Thank you.
Hey.
Okay, so thanks, Sue. So we are talking about investing. So investing is a long-term thing, and it's a long-term process, but it's also part of your financial plan. You have to have some insurance in there, too, as a buffer, really, before you get to the investment piece. But we'll talk about that when I come back on the show.
You know you're welcome back anytime.
So with investing, you really want to invest depending on what your goal is. So if you are looking to buy a home, or if you're looking to retire, those are going to be two different types of investments you're going to pick. People do stocks, people do bonds, people do mutual funds. Whatever you decide to do, just make sure you do the research. That's my tip. You don't necessarily need a stockbroker to buy stock. You can do E-Trade, TD Waterhouse. They make it very easy for a regular person to begin to invest. They do have some fees, which most products will have. There's nothing free. But I would say buy what you know. If there's a product that you love and you supported a business that you believe in, their values match yours, then that's the company that you would invest in. But I would say do your research. Look at if you're going to do a mutual fund, look at what other companies are invested in that mutual fund, and do your research. BlackEnterprise.com has really great investment tips. A site that I really love is money.cnn.com. That's my go-to site for investing tips. They have a personal finance section, which is really great.
Sure.
But after you do all that, just remember that investing is for the long term. Don't invest your rent money.
This is not the gambling. This is not the casino.
And this is the way I think of it. When it comes to your long-term savings, like your 401k, your 403b, IRA, put that money away for a rainy day. That's what it's for, because one day, believe it or not, we're not going to be, well, we'll still be as fine as we are now, but we will be a little bit older, and so we need to set that money aside.
Absolutely.
I don't know what's going to be around for us.
Absolutely.
I don't know about Social Security and Medicare and all these things that are going to be around. So this generation, if you're 30-something years old like I am, you need to be putting money away for a rainy day.
Absolutely.
And don't touch it. And also, just one thing, a lot of people feel like they can't afford to invest. If your company has a retirement plan, please put your money in it. It will save you in taxes as soon as that first contribution to the account hits. And if you work for a small business or a big business and they don't have a retirement account, shame on them. I want you to march to your HR person and ask them to set up a retirement account for you. It doesn't cost them a lot, so just make sure that you're demanding that and put that money away. And even if your employer doesn't match, it's not their job to save for your retirement. It's your job. It's your life. It's your money.
Right.
You got to save it.
So what about for people who work for themselves?
Oh, good. So if you're an entrepreneur, there are so many. You can set up a retirement account for yourself. So you can do, depending on how much you want to contribute for the year, there are different types of IRAs. You can also set up a 401k if you're a small business. There are different accounts for if it's just you and one other employee, but there are options for small businesses to set up their own retirement accounts.
Okay.
Especially as a small business owner, you're going to need to be saving as well.
Okay. And we actually have a question. What kind of IRA is better for the people, traditional or Roth?
It depends. So that's a good question. So the traditional IRA is, it's a couple of things. Typically, the traditional IRA is a pre-tax contribution. People can, if you're a small business owner, you can open up an IRA for your business, or let's say you had a retirement account with the company and you left, you can move those funds into a traditional IRA. The Roth IRA is post-tax. So let's say that you open up a Roth IRA on your own. That money the money that you get in your checking account, that's what you would put in your Roth. So it's already been taxed by the government through your paycheck. You put the money aside and it grows, and you pay taxes on the growth of the investment.
Okay.
Whereas with the traditional IRA or pre-tax retirement plans, it grows and grows, and you don't pay any taxes at all until you get ready to take it out. So if you have the money, do both. Do some pre-tax saving for retirement, and also if you can do the Roth. But the pre-tax investing is what's going to save you money now. So for example, if you make $40,000 and you put $5,000 into your retirement account, you'll be taxed as if you made $35,000, because that $5,000 pre-tax gets cut off the top. So I'm telling you, you can't afford not to save.
Absolutely.
And also, when you get a raise, make sure that you increase your retirement contribution. Just continually save and continually invest.
Absolutely. You know what? We're going to have a chit chat after this so we can get my Dr. Williams' finances.
That's what
in
I'm
order,
talking about.
Right? So even I need a little help, right? So if someone wanted to come to you, how would they find you?
Well, I'm a woman of the world, but I live in Chicago. You can hit me up on my Facebook page. The name of the business is Mind Over Matter. So facebook.com, Mind Over Matter Financial. My website will be up in about 2 more weeks. And then once it's up, I'll let Dr. Shanicka know and she could contact me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you on Instagram, Twitter, any of that good stuff? You don't have to share.
You know, I'm not on Instagram, but people keep telling me I need to be.
You
So
do.
I'm on top of that.
Absolutely. We got divas in the house right now.
I know. Can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
So for the person out there that who feels lost with your finances, I know that there's someone out there because I used to be. So today is the day. Today is the day for your blessing. You can manage your finances. You can manage your money. You can be wealthy. You will not be the little old lady that lives in the shoe. You just have to make up your mind that you deserve better and you want better. And until you do that, it will be hard for you to live this life of wealth. And wealth is not about money. It's about health, physical health, mental health,
spiritual health.
And so you have to make sure that you really are willing to put in the work. Do the mindset work. The mindset work is the hardest part. I can tell you anything about budgeting, but if you're not there mentally, if you feel like you just want to shop and you don't want to save and you want to do all these things, I can't help you. So today, make up your mind that you want better because you can do it. You're smarter than you think.
Absolutely.
And you are more powerful than you think. Don't let your credit cards abuse you. Don't let your credit report abuse you. Just stop. Stop right now. Just stop what you're doing because you deserve better.
Absolutely. Man, and I couldn't have said it better. You know, that there are so many people that want to confine to this world and they see the videos, they see the movies, they see the glamour life, they want instant gratification when it comes to money and finances, and it just doesn't happen that way. Real wealth comes from hard work, it comes from discipline, it comes from a diligent mind, and Alex, I promise you said it best. You definitely have to change your mindset. You have to want a better you. You have to want more for yourself and your family. And I think you have a wonderful program. Just the concept of it all and the spirit behind it, you know, is very moving, is very touching. And I know that you are going to help and uplift a lot of people with what you're trying to do. So I'm very excited about the work God has for you.
Thank you. Go, Alex. Go. Cabbage Patch. Go.
So you guys know that this is the Diva MD Show, and I'm going to ask Brandy to get back on the mic just for a little bit because I have to always ask my divas when they come in here. Diva stands for discovering your inner most valuable asset. I want to dispel the notion of this negative diva attitude that you are just, I mean, you are fine, you cool, but you have to have some core values that make you the woman that you are. And I always say that the diva in me is, well, my innermost valuable asset is the God in me. So I want both of you guys to share with me, you know, what's your innermost valuable asset as a diva?
Ooh, getting a little deep, ain't we? Okay,
just a little bit.
What is my innermost valuable asset? It is, let's say it's love. I think that, well, first of all, God loves me. And so that's how I know how to love, because I love God and I know he loves me. He first loved me. And I love myself. You have to love yourself. I have a husband and he's fine and he's a great husband, but I have to love me.
Absolutely.
So that I can love him. So love. I think that if you lead with love, it will all work out.
I love that. I love that. Brandy, what you got?
Belief. Basically, I believe I can do anything that I set my mind, my heart to. God has put these dreams and goals in me since I was a little bitty girl. And I let some of that stuff go. And then I get a setback and I'm able to pick up those old dreams again. And my dreams are coming true anyway.
I love it.
And better than I ever expected it. And again, it's all because of God, you know. So I believe in God, and God is saying, go ahead, believe in yourself too, girl.
Absolutely. It has to start within. Man, you guys have been such awesome guests. I mean, just absolutely amazing. You guys continue to blow my mind. I love it when I have some divas in the room that are doing big things, and you guys are definitely doing big things. So final words on finances, BSI? Budget, save,
yes,
invest.
Budget, save, invest, and save for a rainy day Tomorrow is coming. Get ready.
Absolutely, guys. You've tuned into the Diva MD Show. It's every Friday, 8 to 9 p.m. We got Diva's Med Corner as well as Diva's Lounge, and it has been such a pleasure with hanging with you guys tonight. You know what? Tomorrow we are on the air live. UBM Talk is on the air live tomorrow at the Bud Billiken Parade, so please make sure that you tune in and have a great time with us. You guys have a good evening, and I'll see you guys next week.
I'm a diva.